The title of this video is not misleading. It's actually right on point. I'm going to share some secrets with you about selling your home that you've probably never heard before. As a matter of fact, a lot of agents have never heard some of these either. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to start with pricing simply because it is so vitally important. I remember when I started in the real estate business, my manager told me, he said, look, you can run a full page ad every single week in the newspaper. There was no internet then. You can run a full page ad every single week and your seller will be thrilled until their house doesn't sell. If it's not priced right, that full page ad is going to do no good whatsoever. And that's true now as well. It doesn't matter what you do in the way of promotion, the way of advertising, the way of marketing. If the house is overpriced, buyers are not going to respond to it. So pricing is huge. Let me give you a few tips here. First of all, when an agent depends on price per square foot, they may know what they're talking about, but typically it's kind of a crutch. Let me ask you this. Are two houses that are each 2,500 square feet worth the same amount of money? Well, if they're exactly the same condition and have the same amenities and the same upgrades, sure. But what if one of them, and actually this is a recent experience I had, what if one of them has been remodeled extensively and is turnkey, absolutely beautiful, and the other one, although nicely maintained, has outdated countertops and carpet where usually we see hard flooring nowadays, and the landscape was sort of minimal, and the fence was, well, wasn't doing too well. Didn't look like it was going to last much longer. So those houses were about the same square footage. Were they worth the same amount of money? Well, of course not. So using price per square foot can be misleading. You see, appraisers use adjustments up and down for different things like condition and amenities and upgrades and things like that. And being able to assess a home compared to other homes is very important. So price per square foot, although it can be accurate, if used properly, unfortunately, many times is not used properly, so it's not accurate. Another area of pricing that is vitally important is the value of upgrades. You've got to be able to assess upgrades. Now, I'm going to talk about a lot of different things real quick. Pools are one of them. Pools bring far more value to a home than most agents give it credit for. You see, appraisers, I don't think, and I used to be an appraiser, I don't think appraisers give pools enough credit. The reason for that is because buyers are willing to pay more for a pool than appraisers give it credit for. And where do I lean? Well, toward the buyers, toward the market. Bottom line is that pools add value, not retail. In other words, if it costs 80 grand to put a pool in, it isn't going to add 80 grand worth of value. But it's not going to give you a quarter of the cost of the pool or something like that. It's going to give you more value than that. Now, there are more factors involved: the quality of the pool, the size of the pool, the neighborhood it's in, things like that. But let's go on to like cabanas, outdoor kitchens, media rooms, things like that. It's not hard to assess what those will add to the value of a home if comparables are studied. And you can't do that using price per square foot. I hope that makes sense. And here's one that, well, I had a hard time trying to decide whether to share this with you or not, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. The number that you use to price your home, the number is going to be a big determining factor in how many people see it online. Now, what do I mean by that? If your house is worth $750,000, how you price it can have a big impact. Let me explain. If you're searching online for a home, do you ever search from $700,000 to $749,900? Of course you don't. You search from $700,000 to $750,000. You might search $750,000 to $850,000. So think about this real quick. And when I'm sitting in front of people, I put this down in writing. I've got a little pad and I show them, but think about this real quick. When you search $750,000 to $850,000, you see all these houses pop up. The one priced at $749,900 is not on that list. I'm sorry, my wife tells me not to use my fingers to point at people that it's rude. So I tend to use my hands, so I'm sorry. But Think about this. If your house is worth $500,000 and your agent insists on $499,900, they're costing you views online. Because when someone searches 500 to 550 or 500 to 600 or 500 to 700, they never see a house priced at $499,900. Your best number to price your house is on the price band. If it's worth around $750, price it at $750,000. If it's worth $500, price it at $500,000. You'll have more people see it online when you price that way. I hope that makes sense. Next thing we're going to look at is preparation. Absolutely crucial. Preparation is so important. Measure twice, cut once. That's why I have the tape measures there. Probably already figured that out. In Russia, they say measure 7 times, cut once. Maybe that's why it takes so long to get things done in Russia. But preparation is crucial no matter what industry you're in, no matter what, I don't care if it's hobbies or business, preparation makes a difference. So we're very, very adamant about preparing properly because it can put you in a far better position to sell your home and reach a successful closing. And I'll give you some details here. We show our clients how to qualify as a 5-star pre-inspected home. And a sign goes in the front yard saying that you are a 5-star pre-inspected home. I can't tell you how many times I've had sellers say, well, you know what? I did this to my house, but my agent said it didn't make a big difference. Well, guess what? A lot of things you do to your house that agents think don't make a big difference make a big difference. So one of the things that's important is to make sure that buyers understand what you have done and where you stand in relation to other houses. If you are a 5-star pre-inspected home, here's what that means. It means that you have had the 5 most important and expensive areas of your house checked and resolved any issues. Your roof, your foundation, your electricity, your plumbing, and termites. Now, it doesn't have to be those exact 5. Let's say you're on 2 acres and you have a septic tank. Well, it can be roof, septic tank, foundation, termites, and electrical. The bottom line is this. To have each of those inspected is not hard to do. Most of those inspectors, not all, some of them will come out and do it for free. Some of them will charge a nominal fee if you say, look, all I'm looking for is a thumbs up, is an inspection. Now, you have those done, and when a buyer comes along, they say, well, what's a 5-star pre-inspected home? They click on that QR code, and they go see, and it explains that you have all the major areas of the house already inspected in a thumbs up. Now, if there are issues with any of those areas, some agents will say, well, don't have inspections done because then you'll have to disclose it. Well, of course you have to disclose it, and you want to disclose it. But wouldn't you rather know now that there's a problem than when a buyer comes along and then you lose them in the contract? Of course you would. Preparation makes sense. If you have a roof problem, and I've had this happen more times than I can tell you, the seller says, oh, my roof's fine. My insurance company came out and said it was fine last year after the hailstorm. Well, then a roofer gets on and says, oh, you got some hail. And then you file your claim, get the new roof. Instead of getting a buyer out there, having them find that there's hail, and then having to go through the claim and possibly losing your buyer. I hope this makes sense. If there's a problem, let's find it now and resolve it. So the 5-star pre-inspected home puts you in better position to compete with other homes in the market. If it's close between you and another house and they already feel comfortable that you had all the major areas of your house inspected, any issues resolved, and everything comes up looking good, you're in a little better position than a competing house. It's a process that we go through that's quite important. It's one of the reasons that we ask sellers to consider starting early. So if you have the luxury, and sometimes you don't, and that's okay. If you have the luxury to start early, you know you're going to sell your house in February, start in September, going through the process of making sure everything is okay and has a thumbs up. The psychology behind this is very, very powerful. When someone puts an offer on a home and they have no idea what's going to happen at the inspection, it's very different than if they put an offer on your home and they know that their inspector is going to go in and check a bunch of things that have already been checked. There's just an insurance and a comfort to it that give buyers a better feeling. The number one reason that contracts don't reach closing in today's environment is inspections. And when we can head that off ahead of time, you're in a far better position to reach a successful closing when you get your contract. The next one is presentation. And quite sincerely, this is where a lot of agents want you to spend your time. And I'm not saying don't. Your home should look its best. It should have great first impression. Presentation is huge. So I do not believe typically that you need a stager to bring in and lease you and sell you a lot of things. And I can show you why if you decide to meet with me. But for presentation, what we're going to cover is how will buyers see your home? Photographs, videos, etc. When your home is presented online, you want it to be presented as thoroughly as possible. That's why in any situation possible, we do aerials, not just on acreage property, but we want buyers to see how your home sits within a neighborhood, what the extent of the neighborhood is, what's around them, what the buffer is between you and neighbors, front, back, how your street looks, etc. We're going to present a lot more than just your house. I hope that makes sense. We're going to focus on those extras with pictures and videos. We often do videos about specific areas of the home. We might have a video that only covers the outdoor area. And sometimes that's enough to pique their interest so that they want to see the inside. And hot points can take people to other areas of the house. They love this and they're okay with the rest of it. But what they love is what makes them buy the house. And we believe in all kinds of photographs and videos. I just don't think you can provide too much information to buyers. As a matter of fact, I've proven it. We have 3D walkthrough tours. People absolutely love those. We also do a walkthrough tour that's a video of how a buyer would normally walk through a house and look at it. So if they're not where they can see the house, it's the closest thing that's going to happen to them walking through the house. We've actually had buyers tell us, you know, that video was pretty much exactly what I would have done when I walked through the house. Opening drawers and seeing if they're soft closed. Opening closets and seeing how much space is in. That video is very, very thorough. And then, of course, pictures. Most agents will buy a package of pictures. We send out photographers and say, take all you need. And sometimes we'll have 60, 80, 100. Whereas most agents will buy a package to go in the MLS, which is a limit of 40. Some agents will even limit it to 25 because it's less expensive. We think it's too important to limit the exposure your home gets. And I'm going to make one more point. The quality of the photographs is important. There are many types of professional photographers, many very good ones. I'm not really partial to the fancy faux-looking photographs. I want something crisp and clear and precise. I don't want a 12-foot bedroom to look like it's 18 feet long. Any agent who doesn't use professional photography and a good professional photographer, you really ought to think twice about. I had a seller call one time and ask if I would come talk to them about listing their house. During the conversation, I found out they were already listed. I asked what the problem might be. They said, well, you should see the pictures. So I did. One of the pictures had their dog sitting in the middle of the living room scratching himself. I think presentation of your home deserves a little more than that. Now we're going from presentation to promotion. Yes, they all start with P. Makes it easy for me to remember. Promotion is who do we send the presentation to? Well, I believe very strongly in target marketing. Target marketing is who wants a home like yours. Who's going to pay you the most? The people who want what you have, not the people who have to try to adapt it. The people who want what you have. This is a small and seemingly trite example, but it makes the point. If you have a house with a home office with French doors, I don't care if it's got a closet or not, if it's at the entryway and it's got French doors, it's not a bedroom. I've had agents market homes as 5 bedrooms or as 4 bedrooms when it had 3 bedrooms and an office or 4 bedrooms and an office. Well, guess what? There are buyers who want 4 bedrooms and an office or 3 bedrooms and an office. And you're better going after them than someone who walks into the house expecting 4 bedrooms and finding 3 bedrooms and an office. That one's a big pet peeve. Same with media rooms. I've seen agents market media rooms, and all it really is a game room. There's nothing media room about it except a big screen TV at the end of the room. So market what you have to the people who want what you have. Hope I'm making sense. In addition to Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, all of those, we create a unique web presence for you. It'll be your address online. Yes, the old adage, 123 Easy Street, you'd be at 123easystreet.com. If you're at 203 Savannah Drive, you'd be at 203savannah.com. And we can put a lot of content, a lot of information, a lot of videos, a lot of pictures on that page that they just can't find on Zillow or Realtor.com or any other generic website. And while we're talking about that, let me explain what IDX is, Internet Data Exchange. So if you list your home with, I'm just going to say, Caldwell Banker, you will also be on the website of RE/MAX, ERA, Century 21, EXP. Everyone will have your house on their website. So any agent that says, well, we're going to put you on all these websites, and our company website gets so much traffic, it's pretty much the same for everybody. So go beyond the generic and find out specifically what marketing plan and exposure that agent has for your home. So when it comes to promotion, pictures, content, videos, you can't have too much. And if you never read the content on your home, you're taking a little bit of a risk. I encourage my sellers to read the content and make suggested changes because there was a reason they love their home. That might be the same reason someone else does too. Now I'm going to do one more P. Doesn't sound like a P, but philosophy. Every agent and or broker has kind of a philosophy that they work by. I do know agents truly and brokers truly who say, we never cut our commissions. We are worth what we charge. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. That's the way they do business. No problem there. Now, I do have a process for my fee, and I show you exactly what it is and why I charge it. But philosophically, I also have a couple things that I think are important for you to know. We have what we call a rapid response guarantee. My clients know that when they call me or text me during business hours, they'll receive a call back within 15 minutes, unless I'm in an appointment. At that point, I will respond as soon as I'm out of my appointment. It's a habit. It's something I always do. I can't tell you how many times I've heard sellers or buyers say, well, we just couldn't get hold of our agent. That's just simply should not be the case ever. Real estate is a service business, and service should be a priority. That's why every single one of our clients also has a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And we back that up, 100% satisfaction guarantee, whether we represent you as a seller or a buyer. I remember a contractor one time. I had a big issue with what they were doing in building an outdoor area at my home. I brought it up to him, and he said, Stuart, what can I do to make you feel good about how we handle this for you? Kind of a surprising question. But I told him, and he said, you got it. Now, what I had proposed, I thought was pretty fair. I didn't think he was going to think it was fair, but he said, you got it. And I've never forgotten that, and I've always referred them. When it comes to doing business with us, we work hard to make sure that you are always satisfied 100% of the time. And I'm sorry I used my finger. My wife says, don't point. People don't like that. So if my finger gets above the camera and you see it, please accept my apology. And there's one other thing I'm going to add before I start, and that is a very powerful, proven home selling secret. We realize this. I've been doing this a long time, and we realize this after many years, that this is extraordinarily effective. People who do this make more money. The people who do this sell their home faster. And I used to tell my kids when they were young, sometimes the solution is stupidly simple. And they didn't really like that, but they found out it was often the case. And this one seems ridiculously simple, but it is so effective. And I actually mentioned it earlier, and that is start early. So if you're going to sell your house in February, start in September, October, November. Don't start at the end of January. If you're going to sell your home in May, start in January or February. I've had sellers start 6 months, even a year in advance with me. Now the typical is more like 3 months, but start early, because if there are issues you didn't know existed and you have to take time to resolve them, you're not under a lot of stress if you start early. Hope that makes sense. Now I did throw another video up here. This is about a very expensive lesson that you can avoid. I hope you'll watch it. I hope it's helpful. If you like this video, press that like button. That always helps me with YouTube. If you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe. I put up videos consistently about Georgetown, Texas real estate. And if you're not in Georgetown or don't plan to move here, they're helpful to anybody, no matter where you are. Thanks for watching. And remember, it's your choice, so make it a powerful day.